What's going on, guys? Foresight Capital here, and today we're going to talk about Palantir's price action for the day and talk about the brand new contract with IBM that's going to substantially change how the company trades in the coming weeks. We'll talk about what it means for the business moving forward and specifically what it means heading into Q4 earnings and the lockup expiration period, because I know a lot of investors out there are waiting for the lockup expiration in an attempt to be able to buy Palantir on a potential dip that's caused by the lockup expiration. So we'll cover all of that in this video, but first, if this video brings you value, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing because it really helps this channel reach more people, and we do deep dives on stocks like Palantir all the time. Also, if you've yet to check out the Discord for this channel, check that out in the link in the description below. I put out a watch list nearly every single day of multiple stocks that I'm watching, as well as where I'm buying or selling them, and there are a ton of great conversations going on within the group. I also put out a Google Doc of all of the watch list stocks, and we've picked multiple 100+% winners already this year, and we're only one trading month into the year. And lastly, if you've yet to take advantage of your free stocks through Webull, sign up for a new account using the link in the description below and deposit just $100. You'll get 2 free stocks valued at up to $1,600. That's a great way to get a head start on your new investment account. So if we take a look here at Friday's close, we can see that Palantir closed at $34 per share on the nose and opened up today at $35.30 per share in pre-market hours before having a very heavy buying candle come in and push the price up in pre-market hours to intraday highs of $39.21 per share when the market opened. And then we saw a bit of the standard Palantir pattern where it faded throughout the rest of the afternoon. We see this time and time again with Palantir contract announcements where the initial spike is a bit overdone, and as investors digest the information, it tends to fade throughout the rest of the afternoon. However, what was different about this spike is that it wasn't overdone, at least according to some of the data that I can see regarding the contract. Now, they haven't announced dollar amounts, but they have announced some other quantitative ways where it will affect the company positively for many quarters to come, it would appear. But first, I want to dive a little bit more into the technicals here so we can see that we've built a very firm baseline at $31 per share. And in fact, if we take a look back at the Fibonacci retracement that we've been following for quite some time, we can see that that was the 78.6% retracement level, which acted as resistance multiple times in the past and has now been acting as support for the stock. This is going to be very important over the coming trading weeks because if we see Q4 earnings that are announced and they're not to analyst expectations or to investor expectations, we could see a bit of a sell-off, which could be furthered by the fact that the lockup expiration will be ending three trading days after Q4 earnings. So we could see a double whammy of selling off, but if we have multiple levels of support to the downside, that could curb some of that selling action. So we've got $33.50 per share acting as a key pricing level, which was previous all-time highs, has acted as support a ton in recent trading action, and we're now trading back above that level. And then, of course, further to the downside, we've now got what seems to be a very nice support level at about $31 per share, right in line with this 78.6% retracement level. So from the technical side of things, it looks very nice to have this set up and means that it could curb some of the selling that could happen after Q4 earnings or the lockup expiration. Now, Palantir actually doesn't even have any information on this contract on their website, so we're going to take a look at the Motley Fool articles from today about the contract. And there are actually 2 articles that we're going to dive into. The first one here was written a little closer to when the contract was announced, and the next one has a bit more detail, but I wanted to talk about some of the things that are from this very first article. So Palantir will be working with IBM's hybrid cloud data platform and the Foundry platform to work with their mutual clients to build applications using AI, using the power of IBM's popular Watson AI system to gain access to critical data insights in the hybrid cloud without extensive technical training. What that means for Palantir is that they're going to have access to IBM's extensive list of clients, as well as build value for IBM's mutual clients with Palantir. And all of these systems that they're building and helping these clients obtain are going to be cost-cutting measures because they're not going to have to create extensive technical training and hire people specific to be able to utilize these platforms. And that means that Palantir's services are much more likely to stick around with these companies because we all know in business, if you're one of the cost savers or the revenue generators, you're much more likely to stick around longer than somebody who's costing the company money and not providing that level of value back. So when Palantir is able to enter these businesses, gaining the legitimacy of working with IBM, and then be able to create solutions that are going to help these companies save money without having to create extensive training platforms, then they're much more likely to become much more deeply ingrained with their clients and be able to provide much more services and thus grow their revenue in a new client base. And perhaps the most important piece of information here is that Palantir now has access to over 2,500 of IBM's salespeople. Palantir itself only has a total sales force of about 30 salespeople, and they've managed to grow that to a $60 billion business. So if they have access to 2,500 salespeople, even if they're not dedicated to selling solely Palantir products, there could be exponential growth in the future. Not only will they have access to mutual clients of IBM and Palantir, but my thought is that if they're able to provide excellent service to these clients, they may be able to work their way into earning contracts from non-mutual clients of IBM's and utilize their salespeople to have an easy end to selling some of those contracts and growing their revenues exponentially in the coming quarters and years. So what does all of that mean heading into earnings? I think we continue to see Palantir hold above that $33.50 per share level. And even if it breaks below that level, we've got some fairly strong support at $31 per share. But I think that we see a continue building higher lows and higher highs among this trend. Now, today we didn't see that spike in price that would constitute a higher high. That's going to take a run of up to $45 per share, but realistically, with the underreaction of the news that happened today, I think that we could see a spike in price to at least test all-time highs before earnings, which are coming up on February 16th. After that, we've got 3 trading days heading into the lockup expiration where I expect to see a bit of a sell-off. And that's either going to happen in a major way if Palantir misses Q4 earnings or guides down for coming quarters, or it could happen in a slightly lesser way if Palantir manages to actually beat earnings. But I still think we're going to see a bit of a sell-off after this February 16th date as people prepare for the stock to potentially decline in price as a result of long-term investors and long-term executives finally being able to sell some of the shares that have been locked up for many years. Definitely let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on what this contract means for Palantir. Like I mentioned, it's not on their website yet, so there isn't a ton of information that we can get quantitatively, but I think it's a very important contract and strategic partnership for Palantir moving forward with a top-notch company that's not going anywhere and gives them a ton of access to a client base that had not yet been accessible to Palantir. Again, don't forget to check out the Discord and the link in the description and the pinned comment below. Ton of great conversations, really fast-growing community. I think you would love coming and having some conversations with us. And again, don't forget to check out your 2 free stocks through Webull for depositing just $100 in a new brokerage account. I appreciate you watching until the end. Catch you in the next one.